Alright guys, today we'll talk about altcoins, namely the question is when they will start to pump as we had in 2017, while right now they're not that fast growers as you probably notice. Before that, a couple of words about Bitcoin. In principle, it actually followed our scenario for the growth as we discussed a couple of days ago. So it went above $9,000 to the zone at around $9,400, and then it went below $9,000 in order to collect the stop orders in this area. After that, immediately returned back to the upside. And now the question is, of course, still remaining whether it will go lower to something like maybe $8,400, because this was the strong level of previous resistance and it may be a nice support, or maybe price could go a little bit below that in order to collect even more stop orders before the new leg to the upside. But the longer we stay above $9,000, the more likely that we will not see this drop, but instead of that we will go even higher to the targets which we discussed in the previous videos. By the way, there is also a gap finally on CME futures. The depth is about $600, and because of this gap, a lot of people are expecting that the price will go to something like $8,500 because all the previous gaps were closed. So maybe it is the time to ignore this rule and go to the upside without those who are having their limit buy orders in this zone. At least if I would be a market manipulator, I would do exactly that. But okay, let's talk about altcoins. Let's talk about something which everybody wants to know. Of course, the only thing which we can do is we can look at two things: previous history and psychological point of view. But apart of that, just a couple of words about the conservative approach of how the capital is redistributed within the assets in a cryptocurrencies market, namely Bitcoin versus altcoins. So there's a common narrative that while Bitcoin is going up, altcoins are going down. While Bitcoin is going down, altcoins also going down. And only the time when Bitcoin is going sideways, altcoins are growing. And here, this pink line is the dominance of Bitcoin. So as soon as this dominance is going lower, altcoins are rising, okay? In principle, this narrative is rather reasonable, because you may think that when everybody sees that the price of Bitcoin is going up, they try to close their altcoins positions, especially making this a sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And of course, because of that, altcoins are going lower and Bitcoin is pumping even harder. And then when Bitcoin stops to grow, people start to allocate their profits from their Bitcoin's positions to altcoins. And then during this relatively calm period of time, altcoins are going up. After that, the same cycle, rinse, repeat. Now, let's just look at the global picture. So, for example, from the previous cycle, what you can see is that, of course, during the first part of it, there was not so many altcoins, and actually they started to rise only from 2016 and really boomed in 2017. But in any case, you may see that this price action of Bitcoin in the previous cycle's rise could be divided into two parts. A relatively slow rise after the accumulation, and then as soon as the price of Bitcoin reached the previous all-time high, then the slope actually changed and the growth of Bitcoin started to become really parabolic. In fact, this area is very critical for Bitcoin because, first of all, the new all-time high is a very strong signal for many of the traders, many investors, and they want exactly to enter the market, and not only like established investors, because those are actually entering somewhere around here, but also this is the signal for retail investors, for those who maybe even didn't hear about Bitcoin and crypto so far, but then as all the media started to yell about it, they would say, oh, really, this is really strong, so we need to buy. And they started to entering the market. Again, usually without even reasonable knowledge about what is the cryptocurrencies and how to deal with it and so on. And usually what is happening with those new investors is that they are more prone to take risks. So Bitcoin, of course, is relatively safe bet within the cryptocurrency space, but altcoins are rather risky, while at the same time they could be really, really profitable. So new people are more greedy than the old players who actually went through some bear cycle, and those new people are entering more into the altcoins, sometimes 100% allocations into the altcoins. And this is exactly the thing which leads to the fact that capitalization of altcoins is growing and the dominance of Bitcoin is going down. So you actually may see that somewhere at the point when the price of Bitcoin reached and exceeded the previous all-time high, this level of the dominance of Bitcoin drastically dropped. Initially it was something like 95, 98% even, and then at this point it's already 68. So it's enormous surge of altcoins. Now let's look at the specific areas and compare it with that rule about the fact that if Bitcoin is going up, then altcoins are going down and so on. So, for example, right here you can look at this cursor line for Bitcoin and for Bitcoin dominance. So you see right here Bitcoin is going up, right? At the same time, Bitcoin dominance is also growing. So after that, when Bitcoin is going sideways, its dominance is decreasing, which means altcoins are starting to gain strength. But then if you look a little bit later, then what you would see that actually, while in this area, this rule still remains. So Bitcoin is going up, its dominance is going up as well. But then from this point, you see Bitcoin is going down dramatically, but at the same time, its capitalization is decreasing. It means that altcoins don't drop during the drop of Bitcoin, which may sound crazy, but this indeed happened at this area. Now, this part is still classic. So we see the rise of the price of Bitcoin and rise of its dominance. And then actually around this point, you can see that the dominance dropped once again while Bitcoin was going up. Well, you may still refer to this as more or less calm period, so we may not include this into our statistics, but then look what happened right here. Bitcoin is going down, but altcoins are going up once again. Moreover, after this consolidation period, this happened once again. Bitcoin price is going up dramatically, altcoins are booming. Some consolidation again, and one more mini cycle of the altcoins. So after that, in the second half of 2017, altcoins are shooting up as well, but while one of them is making like 100x, then it dropped next day, and then another makes 100x, and so on and so forth. So it's really irregular comparing to the price of Bitcoin. But in any case, you can see now what is the structure, what is the correlation. In fact, now if we will return to our case, what you would see is while we had relatively flat area around here, altcoins managed to gain some strength. But then as soon as Bitcoin started to rise parabolically, its dominance increased, so altcoins suffered a lot. Right here, once again, we had some sideways price action more or less, and at the same time, altcoins returned their positions a little bit. So my point here is that we didn't see a period of Bitcoin price action when we saw the decrease in the price of Bitcoin and at the same time the increase of the capitalization of the altcoins. We also didn't see the situation when the price of Bitcoin is going up and at the same time the capitalization of altcoins is going up relatively to the capitalization of Bitcoin. Those two cases, bullish cases for altcoins, didn't occur yet during this cycle. But if you'll actually compare the previous cycle and the current one, we are indeed somewhere around this area. If you'll at least compare it from the relative value of the price to the all-time high, then indeed we have a little bit more room to growth in order to reach the maximum. So something like 50% around here, and 50% for this was around here. So $1,200 and $600. So we may expect that right now altcoins will still continue to slightly bleed during the rise of Bitcoin, but at some point, again, just according to this classical example and historical statistics, we may see the situation when altcoins will go against the Bitcoin, so the decoupling will happen. And in fact, there are some altcoins, a very few, like Litecoin, like Binance Coin, maybe Raven Coin, well, you can name a few, which already started to move against Bitcoin, but it's not the rule, right? However, at some point, when we'll see more and more small investors who would like to take the risk, who would say, okay, we already got a lot of the profits on Bitcoin and probably altcoins will start to move, then we may see that this actually will start to happen because they will buy those altcoins. And this will develop just as an avalanche. Finally, we may see something like this. Unfortunately, the current level is only something like 60% compared to 90%, 95% that we had here. So we don't have that much of the capital which could flow from Bitcoin to altcoins, but still you may expect nice gains from altcoins during this period of time. So guys, the answer for the question when altcoins will start to shoot, in my opinion, mostly when we will see the price reaching previous all-time high. But the beginning of this process may actually start already after we'll reach something like $10,000, maybe $15,000. The closer we will go to 20,000 mark, the more confident altcoins will look like. And you actually could see that if you look at the chart patterns of different altcoins, which really show that they have some reversal setups. But once again, we just need a little bit more patience. Not necessarily to happen, but at least this is the conventional understanding of this process. By the way, speaking about altcoins, I must show you Binance coin. And as Jacob Canfield pointed out, there is a nice support line in the logarithmic timescale for BNB to Bitcoin, which held several times so far, and now we actually have the price very close to this line, so you may really expect the reaction of the price with this line and then continuation of the growth. In fact, if we look at Binance coin to dollar, then we would see that there is a strong support level at $26, which was a resistance level before several times, and also it has a nice intersection with this support line, so potentially we may see the return of the price to this zone. Of course, not necessarily to happen because you see it's already going up, but if it will go there, here is your risk-taking chance to buy BNB with a short stop order. Of course, not a financial advice, guys, just my personal opinion. But again, if it will go there, then I personally would consider this as a nice buying opportunity. All right, guys, that is it for today. I hope that was useful. I hope that you may have a little bit more clarity on the question of when we will see our altcoins bags mooning. So far, let's enjoy some profits on Bitcoin. That is it for today. Thank you for watching.